Take a drink of my pop real quick. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour. My name is Glenna, and I'm here to show everybody how to make dowel ornaments today. First, what I'm going to do is go over a list of the items, and then we'll get started on making those. These are the kits everybody picked up. Inside them, you will have your corn husks, and then I also assembled 3 different pieces of yarn, 3 different colors, like brown, brown, and black. These are the hairs, and then you have a bunch of little strings that are included as well, and we're going to use these to tie the husk together. So that is your kit, and you will also need some water, so I'll give everybody a few minutes to gather just a bowl of water like what I have right here, because we need to soak the corn husk dowels, or the corn husk. So when you get the corn husks, we're going to set them in the water. What I do is separate them so that way the water can get in between and it'll soften them up. It doesn't take long to soften them, so. And because we're going to be working with water, your work area is going to get a little messy, so I actually will lay some paper towel down. So if you have something like that you can lay down, that'd be great, or a towel if you're working from home. And while everybody's doing that and they're getting their corn husks together, I'm just going to kind of show these 2 right here are full-size corn husk dowels. And so as you can see, these ones right here are the size of the ornaments that we're going to make. So they're a little smaller. So we're going to trim the corn husk down. So you will also need scissors. I apologize. So if you want to grab some scissors too. And then these 2 right here I made, and I cut some material to put some little clothing on them as well. But these are also ornament-sized corn husks. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to get scissors, paper towel, and water. So what I'm going to do while everybody's getting some stuff ready is I'm going to kind of show everybody how I assembled the hair as well. So what I used was yarn. Traditionally, they would use the silk from the corn. When they would harvest the corn, they would use the corn silk to make the hair. But because we don't have that, we use yarn. So what I did was just kind of take and cut about 14 pieces. So I'm going to just fold this in half so it's easier to cut. I ain't cutting as many. So I'll do 7 pieces. Kind of make them all about the same length. Struggling here. Okay, I didn't have enough. Kind of hard to tell when the yarn is new, it folds up on you. So, and then what I'm going to do is just try to get these all the same length. And then I used ribbon to cut them in half, but I'm going to just take a different color piece of yarn and tie these ones. And so when you tie it, you want to kind of tie it in the center. And I just double knot it so that way it stays. And then this will serve as our hook to hang the ornament. So, and then you kind of, it's folded in half. So this is like the same. It's a little shorter because I didn't measure, but as you can see, it's the same concept. So it's folded in half. So this is how you make your hair, and you can make it any length you want. Make it a little longer, make it shorter, whatever. So everybody should have their corn husk soaking right now, and what we're going to do is just get started on making the corn husk dowel ornaments. So we need 6 pieces of corn husk to make 1 dowel. And some of you may have smaller pieces, and if you do, that's great. But what we're going to do is pull out 3 pieces, and we're going to rip them up the middle. They tear rather easy, and we're going to use these to make our ornaments. And what we're going to do is trim them down. And I cut them, some of the corn husks are bigger, some are smaller, but I kind of cut it in half so that way it's about 3 to 4 inches, and we'll just cut it in half this way. And we'll set these pieces aside. So these 6 right here are what we're going to use to make our first corn husk. Take 2 pieces, and this one is a little longer, so what I'm going to do is just take and rip that off and set that aside. And then we're going to take one of our pieces of hair with the tied piece where it's folded in half. We're going to put that on the top piece as well. So we're going to put 2 pieces of corn husk down, the hair, and then we're going to get 2 more pieces of corn husk and make them about the same size, and we're going to set them on top of that. Now we're going to take one of our off-white pieces of yarn, and we're going to tie a knot at the top of all of these pieces. And when we do that, that is actually creating the head. When I first started at Ziibiwing, they had a different way of making corn husk dowels, and we had a artist in residence here at that time, shortly after that, and it was Shirley Brocker. So I just want to give Shirley Brocker a little shout out, because this is how she taught the group that was here to make corn husk dowels, and I picked up on it rather easy. So now I teach all the corn husk dowel classes that we have here at Ziibiwing. So once you get your knot tied, I actually tie it once on one side, I flip it over, and I tie it twice to secure the knot, so that way it's really tight. We're going to gently fold both sides of the corn husk down to expose the hair or yarn. And when we do that, that's where how we're going to form our head, because the little piece underneath is going to bubble out a little bit and make our head. I kind of shape it so that way it's a little round. So once you, whoops, okay, let me catch back up. This is bad. Sorry. So if you pull it too hard, it's going to come apart on you, and you'll have to start over. That's a real mistake, so. Oh, I'm already nervous Nelly here, and then I do that, so give me a minute. And if some of you are behind, I guess this is the time for you to catch up to me, right? So now we'll start over and we'll try this again. All right, let's gently fold the pieces over. I had somebody recently have a really thick piece of corn husk too, and their poor dowel didn't turn out. Now I know how they felt when they were making theirs. It makes it rough. So we're going to fold it over, and now this forms the head without pulling really hard. We're going to take another piece of the off-white material, and we're going to tie it in a knot. I like to kind of center it between 2 pieces, just because that way it can hide in the back side of our dowel. That way we keep all the knots on the back, and instead of having them in the front. And then we can trim the knot. And then we're gonna take one of these pieces, and it's kind of thick, so we're just gonna rip it in half and we're gonna roll it. And then after we roll it like this, we're gonna take 2 more pieces and we're gonna tie each end. I tie them about a 1/2 inch inward, so that way I can trim it, because I like to trim the arms so they're not really long after I'm done making the dowel. So we'll take 2 of these and we'll tie them. And I don't trim these pieces right away, and I'll go over why I don't in a little bit. But now we're gonna take this arm and we're gonna separate the 2 pieces. So there's 2 pieces of corn husk on each side, and we're gonna tuck this arm in the middle. And once we do that, then we're gonna take another piece of yarn and we're gonna secure the arms underneath. And again, I make sure that I tie this knot, this piece of yarn, on the same side as the knot where I created the head, so that way I can hide my knots on the back side. So, and like that, just like that, we're done. So see how long those arms are? The arms are kind of long. So I trim mine. I always do this with the full-size corn husk dowels too, because the arms always end up really long. And then I trim the skirt. See how the one piece is a little longer? I'll kind of trim that so it's even. And we'll leave this one to be a girl. So now you just got to take your 2 white ribbons and tie them in a knot on the top. And you have a little corn husk dowel ornament. Now, because I said this is a girl, I kind of take the arms and I'll put the knots in the front, and I'll gently bend these arms forward, and I grab the strings and I'll crisscross them in the front. So I'll take and crisscross them in the front, pull them really tight, and I'll go around to the back side and I tie another knot. And I pull it really tight and you tie it. And I do this while the corn husk is still wet, because then it brings the arms down. So so the arms aren't sticking out. I just think that looks better for a girl dowel. So there we go. There goes a girl corn husk dowel. So now we're gonna make another one with some more of our other stuff. So let's pull out a couple more pieces, 3 more pieces of our corn husk. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna trim them. And then we're gonna repeat the same steps that we just did. So we're gonna take this corn husk and we're gonna rip them in half. We're going to start with 2 pieces, and then we're going to pick out our hair. We're going to lay that down, 2 more pieces on top. And then we're going to tie them with a little piece of material. I apologize if I'm going a little fast. I tend to forget that I know what I'm doing. So let's tie it once, and then we're going to flip it over and tie it twice. One good thing about this video, though, is that you guys can go back and rewatch me do it all over again, right? And so a lot of people, when we do make corn husk dowels and we have the students come in, a lot of them ask why the corn husk dowels don't have any faces. I was told growing up that corn husk dowels don't have faces because our children are innocent and their souls are pure, so they can see spirits, and they don't want that's why there's no faces on the dowels. But there are legends out there, and one of the most popular is that the spirit of the corn, which is one of the three sisters, created the corn husk dowel for the children to play with. And this spirit became conceited because everybody thought the dowels were beautiful and everything else like that. And so she became conceited, and because of that, they took the face away. So that's one of the more popular legends out there. So now we got, I just tied the second head on, and now we're going to do the arms again, and we're going to pull 2 pieces, and we're going to twist them aside, twist them up. And you just kind of play it by ear on how, if you need to trim any off, like if your arms are feeling like they're kind of thick, then you're welcome to trim them down. Unless you want a really buff male dowel, then you can leave them, I guess. So we'll tie them up again. And the corn husk, you can purchase just about anywhere. A lot of craft stores have them. You can go to like to stores that sell supplies for Mexican restaurants and stuff and get them from there. That's where I get them from. But Walmart has them and other stores like that. So we'll trim our arms, I mean. And then we're going to put this in between the 2 again. And we'll tie off the waist. And then, so if you decided you wanted to just have all girl corn husk dowels, you're done with this step right here, and you have another girl corn husk. But I'm going to show everybody how to make a boy. So we're going to kind of take the corn husk on the bottom. I like to kind of spread them apart and feel to kind of get half on each side, and then you just rip it up the center. And then we're going to take another piece of the white thread, and we're going to tie it off at the bottom on each side. And when we do that, that's creating the legs for the corn husk dowel. We'll tie this one off. And then again, I always kind of trim the ends right here, just to make it a little more neater. And then we have a boy. You just have to tie the ribbons on the top. And this one's a little off, but we'll make it even. And then here's another dowel. You can braid the hair. I made these last week just to get a little more practice in. I made them with my kids and my nieces and nephews, so that way, because I only made them one time just to make sure I can do this for this presentation today. So this is the boy dowel, and this is the girl dowel. Everybody has 3 pieces of yarn in their, or yeah, 3 pieces of yarn or hair in their kit. So now what we're going to do is just take the end pieces, the top pieces that we cut off, and we're going to use the scraps to make a 3rd dowel. So we'll just find those, and we'll put 2 down, your hair, and then we're going to put 2 more on top. And we'll put those on top, and again we're going to do the same thing and tie the yarn around the top to make the head. flip it and double tie it again. And then we're gonna fold it over. So if you guys missed me in the beginning, we're just repeating everything 3 times. And then we'll fold this side over to form our head. And again, I kind of just move them around, kind of tuck it so that way the inside is hidden when I put it together. I made the IT guy stay with me today so I wasn't nervous. So he's standing in the back learning how to make these as well. That's kind of cool. So let's cut this, and then we're going to take 2 more. So now, because these ones are kind of peaked, what we're going to do is we're going to take, just like we would if we were making a big corn husk dowel, we would take the 2 opposite ends, we would put them together like this, and then we will roll them over. But because when we cut the bottom pieces, they were about the same width, so we didn't have to worry about that. So, and then we tie them. And if you guys want, the kits didn't include clothing originally. The women would use, you know, fruits and vegetables and things like that and dye the corn husk, and they would put colored corn husk. They would kind of wrap that around the dowels for clothing. Today we have other means, so we're able to get fabric. So if you guys wanted to get some fabric, you can also you can make clothing for the corn husk dowels. I'll give you a couple, show you a couple samples of the clothing in just a second when we get done with this. So now we're going to take another piece and we're going to tie this on. And I'm going to just leave this one as a girl, but if you choose to make another boy, then you're welcome to do that too. Just tie the legs off. And then we'll trim this up a little bit, so that way it's a little even on the bottom. And so there we go. We'll tie the ribbon on the top, and we have another corn husk dowel ornament. And if you feel you have enough scraps left over to make a 4th one, you're more than welcome to do that. I showed you how I done the hair. And here goes our 3 corn husk dowels. When I made some earlier, I made these ones from home just to give it a try before we started advertising, and these are the little outfits that I put on mine. All I did for the little boy was just take a straight strip of material, and I kind of made a little breechcloth. I folded the fabric in between the legs and tied it around the waist and folded it down over the little belt. I'm going to kind of show you a sample on this one. This one is the same thing. That's the little breechcloth. Well, it's kind of long, but that's the breechcloth on the boy dowel. And then all we kind of did was take a piece of material and we kind of made a vest out of it. So we kind of cut it and rounded it around the back for the neck, and then this is the front piece, and it kind of goes over the dowel. And so that's kind of what we did for the boy dowel. For the girl dowels, we did, let me grab let me go get a shirt. We have, these are from our full-size corn dowel husk kits that we do for our school groups, but it's kind of shaped like this, and then we cut a little hole for the head, and then we put a slit in the back. So then when we put it over the corn husk dowel, I'm going to show you on the full one because this is a big one, it kind of just goes over the head, and then it'll go over the arms, and we put it on before we fold the arms, as you can see, I have it kind of wrapped. But this is kind of a sample of a easy little top that you could do for your corn husk dowel. I kind of did the same thing, but I don't think mine was shaped. Mine was more even going down the sides. But you can decorate your corn husk dowels with any type of clothing that you want on it, and or you can just leave them plain, which is the traditional way. But there you go. Hopefully you enjoy making your corn husk dowels, and we'll see you next time.